Oh man, it's I just got finished watching an hour of Kwame Brown. Kwame Brown, I love you, man. This dude is like he's on fire, and he's a great man, a great black man. And you know these are the things that this is why I literally quit the media. I literally quit the media because I couldn't take it no more. And but I never had. Well, I had platforms, but I never had the kind of platform. And once again, I have to thank social media. Social media has allowed for us to come up and for us to really have freedom of speech and freedom of ideas and freedom of opinion and everything else. And so I would like to say that my hat is off to Kwame Brown. And every day, you know, I went to work knowing that I had mouths to feed. So a lot of times, the reason why I went to work was because I had mouths to feed, but I hated every minute of it. In fact, I hated it so much that, that at times I would just go and, just like I would sit in the studio or sit places. And the only place that, and I guess they relegated me down to playing gospel music because that's the only people that would hire me because I was labeled a bad apple or stuff like that. You know how they just like what he's talking about. I was labeled and blackballed, and they do that to us all the time. No matter how, unless you go along like one of the things that Kwame said. That the people that were attacking him said, go along to get along. And, and I apologize for any of my people that I hurt in the process of going along to get along. I apologize to you. And it was finally, everybody that had platforms or media outlets that could say things. If they said things, then they were put in jeopardy. So most of the African American owners were taken out of the game because there were a lot of radio stations. Right now, basically we got one major broadcasting company, that's Radio One or Media One or whatever they're called now, owned by Kathy Hughes. But back in the day, we had a bunch of media outlets. We had a bunch of radio stations. We didn't really have any television stations. We had WGPR, Channel 62 in Detroit. We had, there were a couple scattered here and there, but even them, they were denied the big interviews and the big, the big media the pushes and stuff like that, where there was a lot of information coming forth. And so the other day, and it's funny because the other day I was talking to one of my sons, and I said to him, I was like, people don't understand, just how free we are right now to talk. But even now, we're still not free to talk. As a reporter and as an editor and a producer and all of that kind of stuff, the first thing that came to my mind, even with COVID, you know how many times I was suspended off of social media for talking about COVID and wanted to know the true pathology. And you tell me if you tell me there's no conspiracies, all I wanted to do is know how we catch it and how we spread it. And all they want to tell you is wear a mask and social distance, and then go get a test. And then all of a sudden you get a test and you come up positive for whatever it is. And, now they're peddling the vaccine. We don't know what's in that vaccine. They developed that vaccine too fast. They didn't have enough time to do clinical trials. There are people that are still catching COVID, even though they're vaccinated. So I want to get off of COVID, but I want to get back on Kwame Brown. Kwame Brown, brother, everything that you're saying is truth to power. And, that's why I told people, I said, every day when I get on here, the days that I get on here, I try to speak truth to that power, because we don't have freedom of speech, because the largest platforms we don't own. And the reason why they keep on, diminishing our power in these platforms is because they don't really want us to speak the truth or say the truth or anything like that. And then, of course, whenever you do anything, they're going to come back and discredit you. And I remember, working for, a couple of black radio owners, because after what white folks did to me in radio, I refused to work at a white station, and the money never mattered to me. It was the fact that when I put my head on the pillow at night, I could sleep with myself, and that I could be proud of what I was doing, no matter what it was that I was doing, that I could be proud of what I was doing, and that my people would be proud of me for doing what I did. And that's all that mattered. And then when my father got businesses, I just worked for my father, because I was like, man, I'm not going to go up there and, and make a whole bunch of money for some people that hate me. And I know that in the back rooms, they're hating me. I used to be, like I said, when I was working with my dad owned, Ford Lincoln Mercury dealership. He was an owner of a Ford Lincoln Mercury dealership. And they hated that. White folks hated that. And I remember being at auctions and stuff like that, buying and selling cars. And I remember them telling, I remember overhearing this dude call my dad nigger. They called it nigger Ford. And they were sitting around in a circle and laughed. And I stepped in the middle of the circle and I was ready to fight all of them. And they kicked me out of the auction. I was a troublemaker. And I didn't start it. I'm talking just like Kwame Brown. I didn't start none of that. I just came to conduct business, just like anybody else came to conduct business. And then my father, because my father was born in 1935, and because my father was born in 1935, he had this innate thing in the back of his mind, which a lot of black people did, about well, if I say this or if I do this, then they're gonna attack me or whatever. Well, they did, and they attacked him anyway. And they used everything they could to attack him and to try to get him out of business. And I mean, it was systemic. And then the next thing I knew, I was in jail for nothing. Why? Because I was considered that hot-headed dude. And unfortunately, I wasn't in a public arena like basketball or baseball or football or anything like that. And these guys got these platforms, and they don't realize that all you are is like, you're a junkie. You're a junkie for the man. All he is doing, he's putting stuff in your veins and you spitting it back out, trying to destroy your people. And that's why I never, after that, everybody I worked for was African American. From the time in radio in the early 80s to whenever, I just worked, and I got destroyed. You realize I was fired for doing too good. And if you notice, they always have treated white folks, the right way. Just like right now, Tom Joyner is not on the air, because the reason why Tom Joyner is not on the air anymore is not because, they couldn't afford to pay his contract. They could pay him whatever he wanted. But because he got Barack Obama elected twice. When Barack Obama went on the Tom Joyner Morning Show, that lent him credibility among black people. When they found out, boy, if they round up all these people and put them together and they can elect the president, ain't no way in the world we can let him survive. So he got that wake up call. He got that thing put on him. And we just lost a great we lost a great voice in Paul Mooney, who told the truth. And you notice though, Paul Mooney never got, I started looking through all the things, Paul Mooney might have had, one special, or one thing on there that was 15 minutes. He literally got one special that I could really find and be like, yeah, this is this is something that was produced or whatever. But, and every time there's the same thing with, I was talking to the wife about Nick Cannon the other night. I was like, look, they made Nick Cannon kiss the rabbi's ring. If you want to get your show back, you got to kiss the ring. If you want to do this or you want to do that, you got to kiss the ring. And people like the people that Kwame is talking about, they kiss the ring every day. And they there's no way, I know I don't 100% agree with everything that every black man says. That's not what it's about. But it's about a healthy dialogue. It's about a healthy dialogue. And so much time we spend on what? Everything is beef. I got a beef with you. Da, 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 da. But that's not what it's really about. They try to make us beef against each other. Rappers, whatever it is, they make us beef against each other. And when I try to tell people that they created your martyrs, they created the Tupacs, the Biggies, the Nipsey Hussles, all of that stuff is created to keep you down. How much money has Thug Life put in black men's pockets? All of this stuff that they talk about, rapping about selling drugs, using alcohol. They got name me the white songs that are out there. We got songs about Cavassier and Alizé and all kinds of stuff. Gin and juice. Think about it. It's not, everybody, oh man, it's just music. No, it's not just music. Because everything that goes through your eye gate, your ear gate, your nose gate, your mouth gate, everything that your senses picks up, it makes it easier to pass it by you again. If you don't know. And Kwame, I love you, man, because you sitting there and he keeps on bringing up his mother, who's an ancestor. And he's like, yeah, and I keep telling everybody, listen to the ancestors, listen to your elders, listen to your ancestors, because they had the right answer. They were just opposed with the right answer for so long. I remember one of my bosses, and he was like, man, in fact, two of them. I had two black men tell me, he's like, man, I can't in good conscience play this music anymore and enslave my people. And we talk about they turned down millions of dollars to do things and play things and put information out there and put rhetoric out there and they could have just lent their platform over to all of the foolishness. But they couldn't do it. They really couldn't do it. And now all of a sudden, it becomes popular, to support black business. But I'm talking about these dudes were supporting black business like back in the early 80s. But couldn't get the message out because what? Because they were hindered in putting the message out. Why? Because major advertisers wouldn't give them dollars. But they give Rush Limbaugh, and I never could understand that. It's like, okay, if I talk about my people, then all of a sudden, just like Kwame, you getting the picture now, bruh. All of a sudden you crazy, you violent, you this, that, and the other thing. Not true. He just loves himself, and he loves his people. And that's the essence of our spirituality. The essence of our spirituality is to love oneself and to love your people. To thine own self be true. And that's just it. And there's a lot of players that have been in the NBA that came straight out of high school that weren't that great at playing basketball. But that man probably shouldn't have been playing basketball. He probably should have been writing books and teaching y'all. Because he really knows what's up. Fastest 15 is up. Kwame Brown, I love you, man. Keep on keeping on. Keep on doing what you're doing. Peace.